She gonna take some picture with a camera. So
Oh, okay.
give a copy here. Okay, look at me and smile, guys. And I'll do some again, okay? That'll be 10. Good morning, radio friends. This is Reverend Thomas Humphrey coming to you one more time as the Long Row.
Absolutely.
And
Good
when
morning.
you row, what happened to the prey? What happened to the prey in the Long Row?
It gets hurt.
It stops. It freezes.
Oh.
And when it freezes, that's how he gets his meal. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yes. And he eats every day. Isn't it strange how he can eat every day?
I wish I didn't have to eat every day.
I'm talking about the lion eats every day, not you. Yeah, me too. Wow, that is so true. Oh man, we are so excited. Wow, the Lion rowing on a good Tuesday morning. Wow, my guests, my friends out there in Radio Land, it's 100,000 now. You know that, right?
It's what?
100,000 viewers.
Wow.
And we're going on live TV pretty soon.
Whoa.
This thing is growing, right?
It really is. That's amazing.
Wow, Rebecca Sanin.
Good morning.
Wow, hosts. She hosted the. Listen to this. You gonna like this.
Okay.
This is great stuff. I mean, listen. Will you listen to this?
Yeah, I want to listen.
Rebecca hosted the Lieutenant Governor, Catherine Hochul,
We sure did.
who presented to the network of a nonprofit to the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island.
Wow.
Read the rest of that.
Wow.
Let's see long. Read the rest of that.
The briefing was on the state of the
What?
state relative to issues impacting nonprofits and the health and human services sector of
Health?
the region. Wow, very good.
Keep on.
The nonprofit is an economic driver in the region and working collaboratively
Are you saying money?
together to meet the needs of all communities.
Do all people need money? Keep on reading.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Rebecca Sanin, am I saying this correctly?
Rebecca Sanin.
Sanin,
is
okay.
Spanish, sure.
Okay. Is President, CEO at Health and Welfare Council of Long Island.
Is who?
Is
Did I hear president?
President and CEO, yes, at the Health
We have
and Welfare.
royalty here. The
Yes, we
esteemed-
do.
Absolutely
The honorable
not.
esteem is on Church Talk Radio. And did she get a good education or what here?
Yeah, she studied
studied
at the
right.
University of Southern California. USC?
undergraduate, yes.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. That's my alumni also.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's
Wow.
great. Oh, great.
Wonderful.
Well, because I'm originally from California,
Oh.
so that's really...
Wonderful.
I love California.
All right, I love you already. Go Trojans. And
Trojans.
Fordham, and Columbia University and Fordham University. Currently, you're living in Huntington
Ivy
Station.
School education.
Very
Now, did you
good.
go to private school also when you was?
No, I went to public school. I
You
grew
did
up on
go to
Long
public-
Island. Yes,
Now look what public school do for us.
absolutely. Public school education
Look,
is critical.
we got a testimony right here on Church Talk Radio.
I believe in our public
Right,
schools.
and she believe in it, yes.
Absolutely.
And she has her assistant with her today. This is her administration assistant. And one thing I like about her assistant, Catherine, is she young.
That's good. You have to have the youth input in so many things, especially when there's like a age gap,
Yes,
because their input is so important.
it is.
really is.
And she's young, but she's smart and driven, and she's very, very capable. So I'm very fortunate to have her on my team.
Oh, that's very good.
Rebecca, you got the flow. Talk to us. You talking to 100,000 people.
Well,
I'm
I'm
sitting back and enjoy myself.
so happy to be here today, and I thank you for having me on the show, Reverend Humphrey and Catherine. It's so nice to meet you today. So I am the president and CEO of the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island, and we are an organization, we're an umbrella organization for health and human service agencies in our region. And so what we do is we help nonprofits with capacity building.
Umbrella.
Umbrella, yes.
Like
So
an umbrella.
like an umbrella. So we have
Wow,
about
you covered a lot there.
Yes, in Nassau and Suffolk County. We have about 200 nonprofits that we work with and that we partner with to do policy work, to do advocacy, to make sure that people who are struggling on Long Island are getting services and that we're leveraging services in a coordinated way. And one of the things we do is we also provide direct services. And I'm very excited to tell your viewers we're kicking off our VITA season. VITA is virtual income tax assistance. And basically, we know that people who are struggling are often victims of predatory tax organizations that provide high interest loans in advance of receipt of refund. And so folks who need that money get victimized very frequently. And so one of the things that we're doing is providing virtual income tax assistance programs. And we are doing so right here in your community, starting February 1st until April 5th. We will be at the North Amityville Senior Center on Cedar Road from 10 to 3 every Thursday. And folks can call 631-789-3524 to make an appointment. You don't have to be a senior. You don't ever have had to visit the senior center.
Okay.
We're just excited to really make sure that folks whose incomes are $54,000 or below.
Most of my people are.
Yep, get the assistance that they need. It takes like about 20 minutes. It's really quick.
Now, is that for just tax preparation?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't advance anything to them?
We don't advance, but usually folks get their refunds within a week.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you do it yourself electronically, you can get it yourself. But a lot of people don't know that.
And a lot of people struggle with the process because it's tough. I mean, doing taxes, I've certainly done my own at different times in my life, and it's tricky. So we're really happy to provide this service and make sure that we are reducing the opportunity for people to be taken advantage of on Long Island, and especially our seniors who are struggling.
It's the seniors and the uneducated, I think, that get taken advantage of because when they hear in advance, and they're eager to receive their money, because a lot of people they plan on receiving their refund to pay bills or to even get caught up.
Right.
And a big chunk gets taken out because they need it right then and there.
Absolutely.
And that's what's really bad.
Absolutely.
So they make that poor decision. I always think anything with high interest or it costs a lot of money, it's a poor decision, but they make it out of need, not because it's a poor decision.
Absolutely. And that's why we want to make sure we get the word out, and why I'm so grateful to be here today to let you know that we're kicking this off, because you're absolutely right. It's about awareness.
Yes, I agree.
Awareness.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
We also provide assistance to folks with SNAP. So helping people get food stamps so that they can get healthy foods. And we provide assistance with healthcare enrollment, helping people access healthcare and then navigating the system. So once I have insurance, how do I find a doctor? How do I make sure that I'm using my insurance and getting my healthcare needs met? So we provide a bunch of different direct services. We also are working on an economic stability program to help folks, the tax refund is the one time a year that some people can, put away maybe even $10 and start thinking about what does it mean, what does my future look like, and how do I plan for that. A lot of people on Long Island aren't connected to banks. A lot of people on Long Island, a lot of our communities are struggling so significantly right now. And with the draconian cuts out of Washington, D.C., that's even more aggravated. People are living in fear. People are afraid they're going to lose their benefits. So we're working really hard to make sure that Long Island is the first suburb in America, and we can lead as the first suburb in America in what it means to take care of our communities, even when we're being assaulted on a regular basis from policies out of Washington, D.C.
Wow. Yeah, and you're so accurate when you say about awareness, because some people just don't know.
Right.
And when you don't know, you live in fear. So, what made you start this organization? You did start it? Or?
I didn't start it, actually. The organization has been in place for 70 years. On Long Island. I started working as the president and CEO about 8 months ago after working in government. Right before taking this role, I was an assistant deputy county executive in Suffolk County.
Whoa, slow down now. Slow down now. Wait, slow down. We're not singing, we talking.
Okay.
You were who now?
I was an assistant deputy county executive in Suffolk County.
Under?
Steve Ballone.
Didn't know that.
For 5 years prior to taking this role. And I worked in the nonprofit sector before that. Yes.
Now, what drove you to go that route?
Well, it's interesting, and it's a great question, and it's going to be a little bit of a long answer, so I apologize. I went to college in California, and at University of Southern California, I worked with preschoolers in a Head Start program as part of my psychology honors work. And these were kids that the Los Angeles Police Department had identified as living in the most violent block of all of LA. And so these were kids who saw incredible horrors on a regular basis. And we worked with these kids, and we found that when their problem-solving skills were advanced, they had less symptoms of anxiety and depression and struggle, even though they were still in this environment that was really difficult for them. And that gave me hope. I came back to Long Island. I worked in Hempstead as an education director, in, you know, working with families.
What part of Hempstead?
It was right off of Jackson Street. It was Columbia Street.
Well, that's the urban part of Hempstead? School district?
It's the Hempstead School District,
Yeah,
yes.
right
yes.
in the...
Yes, in
They
the heart
call
of
it the
Hempstead.
jungle.
It's
It's the jungle. They call it the jungle.
it's a
real tough
place
area.
with incredibly amazing and wonderful families that are
Yeah, but
in a tremendous
a lot
pain.
of violence there.
Tremendous pain and tremendous violence, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I worked in that role for a period of time, and I felt that so often it was the systems that were set out to help people that were really hurting them. So for example, if a family needed childcare and they got their kid in childcare and then they didn't recertify in time, it was the child who lost out. The child couldn't come
So
back.
Rebecca, you live in Huntington Station.
I do.
Huntington, not Huntingtonville, it's
No, I
the
live in
station.
Huntington Station, yes.
Yeah. And that's really a depressed area.
Parts of
I
Huntington.
was raised in Huntington.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty rough there.
Mm-hmm.
You taught school in Hempstead.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
So
So what I'm trying to get to, I know you don't want to talk to me. You had a lot of, you seen a lot of struggle in your life. You seen a lot of suffering in your life. You
sure,
have seen a lot.
sure, I have.
So that probably made who you are today.
So I think that struggle is something I've been fortunate to experience. I mean,
You experienced it, yes.
I have had plenty of challenges. I chose to live in Huntington Station because the Huntington School District and the community is very rich in its diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you can't raise a family, you can't live outside of reality. And reality is that we're growing up in a more and more global economic world in which people need to work with each other and be culturally competent and you know, culturally proficient to be effective. So I'm very happy and proud to live in Huntington Station.
You know Dr. Spence?
He's a very good friend of mine, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. But anyway, so I, you know, after working in Hempstead, I went to graduate school to pursue a master's in developmental psychology in a very social policy oriented program, and started working as an adjunct professor and teaching people. And I kept hearing stories again and again about systems that were taking advantage of people that they were supposed to help, even, you know, custody systems, families that were going through divorces, and some of the things and the horrors that children faced in that process. So I said, I have to go to law school because I have to learn how to be a strong advocate for families. And that's how I ended up at Fordham. And I was a Stein Scholar, which means that I never anticipated making any money. I really wanted to learn how to use law as a vehicle for public interest. And that's what I did. And then I worked in government. I got into government, to answer your question, because I wanted to understand the other side of systems. You know, how politics operated, how, you know, decisions are made at a governmental level. And I feel like I got a tremendous education working with the county executive.
But you know, that's very interesting when you say that you went to Fordham to study law, not to make money. Because usually when people go to law school, it's all about the money. Because I know when I went to college, it wasn't about making money. I just studied English literature. So it was just, that was just about, I never thought of, and I never did, you know, did anything to make money with that. But that's why, but most people who do, it's all about,
It's about money.
it's about money because they gotta make a lot, you know.
Understanding law as a vehicle for public interest is something that Fordham is unique in. Some schools on Long Island, Touro Law School actually has a tremendous public interest component as well, for folks who are really interested in using the law to advance positive public outcomes. So that's what I did. And then, as I said, you know, I've been very fortunate to work in the nonprofit sector and with government and in government to really begin to now understand how do we work at changing systems and not just addressing symptoms. So we know that hunger is an issue on Long Island. Are we going to continue to, you know, just feed people, or are we going to look at our broader systems and say, how do we find solutions to these challenges? Because it's our responsibility, you know, to see ourselves and other people and us and them and them and us, and to really recognize what it means to be part of a community. And And I also really believe that the Long Island community is one community. When we talk about Long Island, you know, if a child is hurting in Brentwood, it's, you know, hurting children in Huntington, it's hurting children in Merrick, it's hurting children in every community, because there are no longer those divides between transportation and social media and technology. We all interact, we all intersect in so many new ways and so many new places, and so it behooves everybody to strengthen and raise all boats across communities on Long Island.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you think is the #1 cause for these families that fall into the cracks, that don't have access to the services that you provide?
I think that, first of all, we're always looking for them. And we, you know, certainly our commitment and all of our partner agencies do incredible work on Long Island, really seeking out opportunities to help people and lift them up. I think the research is starting to show that poverty isn't just an economic issue. It becomes, it has a huge traumatic issue for children in terms of brain development.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the chronic stress of poverty has a huge impact on opportunity that children are able to access both in the immediate but also across their developmental lifespan. I think poverty is a huge piece of the root cause of the systemic issues that we see in terms of everything from, you know, drug abuse to housing instability to lots of, you know, challenging social outcomes.
You know, I see, when you speak in terms of poverty, I see stress in your eyes. I can see it. You know, I can see the hurt in your eyes. Sometimes when we talk, we smile, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But your eyes cannot smile. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes remain your feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you see. And Rebecca, I can see your concerns for the poor people.
You know, I grew up in a very, in many ways, in a very special family. I certainly did not grow up in poverty. I grew up with plenty of privilege.
Like Catherine, the same
yes,
way.
I mean, I grew up in Port Washington and in a town with tons of privilege, but I had parents who really raised me to be socially conscious. So from the time I was very little, we were volunteering in soup kitchens and,
That's what
you know,
we did, yes.
you know, working with families. And quite frankly, I struggle even with language, right? Because when we talk about poor people, there's a lot of campaigns out there, and we talk about poor people. A lot of the richest people I've ever met, spiritually rich, rich in many ways, are people who are suffering and people who are in financial poverty, but have tremendous strengths and tremendous beauty in their lives. And so I look at everybody as a teacher. And I think what you see in terms of the pain in my eyes is, you know, my fear right now in our country for the messages that we're sending to people about who they are and about their value. You know, I think we have a president who is, you know, on record a couple of days ago of, you know, disparaging entire groups of people.
Time out. Let's go to that. I know y'all waiting for it. She was waiting. What are you smiling at? Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
Because I don't
Which
think
one,
I've ever, I'm.
Did a radio show?
But not only
go
that, I'll be 49 next month, and I don't think I've ever seen so much turmoil in government in my entire life.
She's going another way. Let us put on a record. It's one thing that the lounge audience, we have, Bishop said we had 100,000 now. One time we had 50,000.
I know.
And one thing they call me on, and they probably call me on some other things after today's show, and we do go live we on Facebook and YouTube and all those places. So this is what we just piggybacking on what Rebecca said, the Honorable Rebecca, the Honorable. President Donald Trump said, "I am not a racist," quote, Sunday in responses to a firestorm over reports of him using a derogatory remark to describe foreign nations during a session with lawmakers on immigration reform. This is a business. This is not no on a bus with the boys in the locker room.
Not that that's any better.
Our earlier Republican Senator Dave Perdue of Georgia, who attended the meeting, also denied that Trump described Haiti and African nations as a whole country.
We know.
You know what it was, right? Now, as the Honorable Rebecca said, that these things bother her. That's why we need, she should be president. His comments were in contrast to those of the Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, who attended the meeting and said Trump used that description. Now listen to this. This is a conservative senator from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham, who also attended, also confirmed the president's use of cruel remarks. You see?
Yep.
So that proved that he told that this guy was telling the truth. The White House, now listen to this now, the White House did not immediately deny the remarks. Trump tweeted Friday that the language used by me at the DACA meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. See? This is in the White House now, you know. It's not in a bus somewhere. Sunday afternoon, while going to dinner at his Florida golf club, Trump told reporters, "No, I am not a racist. I am the least racist person you will ever interview." He's talking now. Sunday morning on ABC this week with George Papadopoulos, Perdue said, "I am telling you, he did not use that word." All right? You see how they covering that thing up?
Yeah.
They got it. On CBS, Face the Nation, Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican from Arkansas, who also attended the Thursday session, said, "I didn't hear that word either." Now, see, I'm preaching today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's my subject right there.
Well,
Ears to hear. But I'm not finished.
Oh, no? Okay, go
I
ahead.
want you to hold on to that one now.
okay.
Now we're okay, and then on CBS, Face the Nation. Okay, we got it. Okay, Perdue and Cotton had issued a joint statement Friday saying they did not recall Trump using the phrase. I'm almost finished. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristen Nielsen, also in the meeting, said on Fox News Sunday, "I do not recall him saying that exact phrase." Go ahead, Catherine.
I think it's easier to say I don't recall than actually saying, yes, I did hear that, and not stand up and say, hey, that's not right to say.
The concern is nobody's denying the sentiment.
Right.
Right. So while folks are saying, you know, he did use this word, he didn't use this word, nobody is denying the fact that the sentiment in the room was one that talked about the value of some human beings over the value of other human beings. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I think, you know, when you're in any position of any stature, whether it's, you know, in a government position, whether you're running a company, whether you're running a newspaper, you have a responsibility to model for children, for younger people, for, you know, professionals, what it means to be a leader. And being a leader, being an effective leader, means that your leadership is raising all boats, that you're strengthening the people that you serve, that you are encouraging them, and that they are under your leadership becoming better and stronger. And nobody is denying the sentiment that the president used, which is to say that some people are more valuable than others, and it's tremendously painful. We talk about it in the news in political terms, but if we can step back and talk about what it means to people, it's tremendously painful. And it fuels this fear, particularly among immigrant communities right now, about how their president values them and what it means if they go to a food pantry to get food, and whether or not there will be people there looking to, you know, nab them and break up their families and deport them. We see people who are entitled to services purposely foregoing services because there's this climate of terror and fear in certain communities. And this dialogue, this national dialogue, even when policies don't change, has a direct impact on people because they're listening, because they're hearing, and our children are hearing. And it's tragic. It's tragic.
What about the soldiers overseas in Africa?
Right. Right. I mean, when you
What
think,
about the other countries that hear this,
Right.
and we got soldiers that are trying to defend them, and this stuff coming out of the White House?
absolutely, and that becomes a challenge in terms of our ability to engage in peacekeeping, and it makes other countries question who we are as a leader in the world, and what our values are and who we are, and in the work that we do where we're serving people in need, I think that it's so important to say out loud that these dialogues hurt people, that these conversations are painful for people. It's not just a political tool. It's having an impact on people's access to services, their mental health, their day-to-day living, and that's abhorrent.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't address something inappropriately and say he speaks for the people. Because I think a lot of people don't really think like that. But even if you did, that's not something you really say out loud. That's something you just try to fix. If it's really that bad, then what can we do to
So,
fix it?
Catherine, does he speak for you?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Because you have a home, right? You have children, right?
Yes, I have
And
one
when they
daughter
speak-
left at home.
And when they speak out of term, they're not speaking for you, because
No. No,
because-
no one can speak
Right.
for another.
So
another
what
individual.
Trump is really doing, he's just making a fool out of himself. He's not speaking for me.
No, I don't
Because
think.
I love everyone.
Yes, I don't think he's speaking for everyone. I think he thinks he is
Mhm.
for the majority, but I don't believe so. I think the majority of people they do see other countries that are hurting, or we wouldn't have organizations that help overseas in other countries.
And I agree, and I think on Long Island, I think we have a unique opportunity right now to look at what's happening in the national context and say that who we are and what we stand for is different, and to protect, to actively protect the values that make Long Island so great, the diversity of our incredible communities, the beauty of all people, and to make sure we protect the services that people need in order to have resilient and healthy outcomes in their lives, and to stand for the notion that every child has a right to health care, even though it's been 100 days since CHIP has not been funded, and that every child has a right to a healthy outcome.
So we only have a couple more minutes to go. So just again invite my audience to this.
Yes,
particular
absolutely. Thank you for that. So we are so excited to be kicking off the VITA season, which is the virtual income tax assistance season, and we will be at the North Amityville Senior Center every Thursday from 10 to 3 from February 1st until April 5th. You can, it's at 48 Cedar Road. For anybody who doesn't know, you can make an appointment by calling 631-789-3524, and we are excited if you make $54,000 or under to support you in helping you get your refund without any fees and any charges. And we're excited to do so quickly. So we're grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
again, you worked in government with the county executive as a.
I was an assistant deputy county executive prior to becoming the president and CEO of the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island.
And now you are the.
President and CEO of the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island, yes.
And they can reach you at what number?
Anybody can reach me on my cell phone, which I'm happy to give out, which is 516-382-1658.
Thank you very much,
you.
my guest. And I think we was off air on the talk, but I got you on another couple of minutes here. Thank you for your
Oh, my
participation,
pleasure.
and we
Thank
will
you for having me.
look forward for you coming again.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Reverend, if you ever want,